Then the movement factor, movement of the target. The situation can be that the person can be fixed, that standing against the wall or lying, or he is free to move. When the body is free to move, certain amount of force, certain amount of energy is dissipated during the movement. That the force has been applied, but the movement will be reducing the amount being transferred. So in this situation, the local damage will be lesser than if the person would have been fixed. As the body moves in the other direction, and only the fraction of force will be available for the causation. In road traffic accident, when there is throwing away, the person which is thrown out, he will receive the injuries of impact by falling, but during the movement, those damages which were to be when it remains in the car were higher. So by throwing out, the damage will be less than the person which remains occupied, remains halted, and all the energies they are transmitted to the body for the causation of the wounds. So when the body is supported by something like lying on the floor, standing against the wall, the whole amount of energy is transmitted in the production of the wound. In road traffic accident, it is said that uh, when the person is having seat belt, he is halted, then the damages are more sometimes. Now, this is a situation when a moving object strikes to a body part. That is, something is moving and striking to the body part. And at the point of impact, the most classical example is skull. When the moving object strikes to the skull, at the point of impact, there will be concentration of the force, and underlying there will be contusion, laceration, and fracture. And local damage is more. That the moving object strike, the person is fixed, the local damage will be more. And when moving object strikes to a stationary place like this, that the person sitting in the car like driver is lifted up, the person is moving and striking to a fixed object, then he is lifted up and striking the windscreen, and the chest is striking to the steering column and the knees to the dashboard. So the person himself is lifted up, moving and striking to a fixed space, so the areas of contact will be receiving maximum amount of energy, so damage will be more. Similarly, in the skull, there are meninges, there is cerebrospinal fluid, the brain. So the response of the skull is a little different. Initially, there will be distortion, there will be sliding of the tissues above each other, and then ultimately it will be lacerated. And the classical injuries, they will be appearing as coup and contra coup. Sudden strike on the head lead to the concentration of the force at the point of strike, and that is known as coup injury. At the point of impact, when a moving object strikes or the person himself strikes, at the point of impact, there is concentration of the force, there will be laceration, contusion, fracture, all the injuries, they are called as coup injuries. Whereas like this, coup at the point of impact. And exactly opposite to the point of impact, that the strike is on the forehead, exactly opposite is the occipital region. There will be a negative. The brain and the contents, the vessel, they will be avulsed because the striking object is moving the head. It is compressing at the point of impact, but with the movement, the brain will be avulsed. They will be detached from the attachments, and that is known as contra coup. This is the point of impact, and exactly opposite there is avulsion, there is rarefaction, negative. The attachments, they are distorted, and that is the contra coup. So this is a classical example of the skull when a moving object strikes or the moving head strikes to stationary. At the point of impact there will be coup injury, and the opposite the point of impact will be contra coup.